trying to find ways to grow our own food in our living spaces. And I love that because, for me right now, I don't have a big backyard. I'm in an apartment, but um, past year, like I really got captivated to being independent and getting things that's actually fresh and gardening itself. Like I took a passion to that, and right now, like I'm growing my lentils, and it's like succeeding. It's not withering, so like I'm happy
So
that I'm
cool. Yeah.
successful. You know,
Nice.
yeah,
That's such a
tomatoes.
great point you make. That is such a great point you make. That your head makes you happy to see that growing.
That's my
Like
point.
we want to see things around us growing. Like not only does it actually naturally, I don't know how biologically we just have this thing that it makes us actually feel happy, but it also makes us more secure to know, that's going to create happiness, security. Talk about reducing anxiety through food. Well, how about we start growing it? Wouldn't that decrease your own anxiety by just
Exactly.
having it in front of you, like and taking care of something every day?
And you're doing
Doesn't
something
that
with your hands too. Like that helps,
yeah,
grounding. That helps with
yeah.
grounding. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like it's a win, 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 win. There's like a no, there's a like it's a continuous win, That's what I mean by that. To
And
grow
I
your
wanted
own.
to, yeah, and I wanted to like get your take about like ways to like grow foods. Like, do you have any from your experience, do you have like any knowledge on like trying find ways to grow, vegetables and fruits, like especially if you're limited, if you're more in a confined space.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so I haven't grown a lot of food to be very 100% honest with you. I've been part of certain gardening projects and things. I moved, I moved to a house to be able to grow. So I'm about to get going and get growing. But I do have suggestions anyways because I've thought it all through, and I have and I do have some stuff growing myself here. So as far as like I can tell you that first of all, start small. You can start small. You don't have to start with a whole garden. You could just have a couple pots, so you can kind of like with a diet change, you might not want to go all or nothing. You might want to just start a little bit. So I would say do that. Just start with your favorite herbs, your favorite maybe the lettuces. You can actually one of the best and easiest ways to start would be to take the butt. It's called of the lettuce or of scallions or of celery even, and just put in some water and let it I guess propagate. I don't know if that's the right word, but let those little roots grow in
It'll
the
start
water.
sprouting back up again, like
Yep,
potato. Like I know that happens. And the
yep,
lettuce bud, like you said.
yep, yep.
That's a
So
great
yeah,
point.
just
Yeah.
yeah, get started and just get the process started is what I would say. If you're not doing anything right now. But yes, there's all kinds of ways to overcome space challenges. That's without a doubt. Obviously there's windowsills, but there's different vertical systems that are being innovated right now. There's obviously the
Mm,
garden towers, which are probably the most well known and but also very expensive. So if that's not in the budget, then there's
yeah.
other ways, and I think we can even get like kids creating, or we can create for ourselves, and there already are created like little vertical systems with literally just a little plastic flower pot and then like rope, and so it waters the whole system.
Mm.
I can't tell you any names at this moment, but I'll try to have those for you soon. But yeah, there's ways to do it. So I wouldn't let space be a challenge, be a blockade to getting started for sure.
And I love you mentioning kids too, because it's like that's almost something that's so productive and it's so fun. Like kids have fun working with their hands, getting their hands dirty, um, rather
Yeah.
than like so much technology. I think that's a great point. Like for kids to take part in like gardening or, trying to establish a community-based thing.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
totally. Yeah, yeah. I've
Yeah.
had this theory, Alberto, for like many years now, and I've taught a lot of cooking classes for kids, and I want to continue doing that with my company.
Mm,
But basically, if we could get our kids cooking, then it would like alleviate so many problems because then the parents would be able to eat healthier because and there's it would reduce the time consumption aspect. It would get them doing something productive. It would teach them a skill that they need to know. It's all again, it's another win-win-win getting our kids cooking, but
right.
also with that, also gardening and planting. Because and it doesn't. I know you and I have touched on some of these things before, but it doesn't have to be like slave labor, where we stopped, making kids have to work because it was too much, because people were having babies just to have labor, 100
Right,
years
right.
ago, hundreds of years ago. No, I'm not talking about anything like that, but we've kind of gone again to the opposite extreme, which is, letting them think that a video game is life. A video game is not life. It doesn't support life. It doesn't breed life. It does nothing for life. And life is what we need to live. So yeah, I
Hmm.
think that if we can get them growing, we're going to get a lot of things achieved by one simple act of getting them in the garden, getting them in, the kitchen, and getting us kind of more like organized together, learning, and it being like a cool thing that we're all cooking together. And that's something that I've seen change. Like, conversations about nutrition in the past, I'd be in a room having, and people would always ask me since I started, different things about
Yeah.
nutrition. And some people like leave the room because they just don't want to be a part of that conversation. And that's changed. Now like everybody like wants to be a part of that conversation. That's funny. But but it wasn't cool. So I think we need to continue to press that cool factor forward. So like it's cool for like the kids to be, everyone to be gardening. And I think that's already happening. So I'm not saying that it's not happening. I'm just thinking that, if we could you know, the more
Expose
the
it
better.
more.
The more
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can put
just
into our psyche, the better, because
yeah.
and into our normal life. And
In
one
case of
other thing,
shortages as well too, you know?
huge issue that yeah. So there's a lot of things happening in the world today, and I don't want to stress about it. I don't want you to stress about it, but I also don't want to err on the side of like, oh no, like let's totally just go out for margaritas, like
Hmm.
because then like we aren't going to be prepared, if we do that with all of our free time.
True.
So I think that that's the real cool thing, is if you can kind of, like I said, I like a happy and a healthy life, nutrition wise. But if we can
Hmm.
combine like some fun work that actually prepares us for the future with, fun, food traditions, I think, we can make this stuff happen.